All right, everyone, welcome back to the land of Chem. I am your host and the author. My name is Jeffrey Drum. Thank you all so much for joining me again. All right, everyone, welcome back. This is Sunday Site Visit 49. And today I will take you along with me to explore areas of the Giza Plateau that I have never seen presented or discussed before. And during this expedition, I discovered one of the most unusual anomalies that I have ever seen in Egypt, and I'm interested to hear what you all think this thing is in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube if you're interested in the technology of an ancient civilization utilizing physics and chemistry, and the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world. If you want to help support the channel and get access to exclusive research and unreleased footage, check out the Land of Chem members only section and thelandofchem.com if you want to pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget, please go subscribe to our two new channels here on YouTube, Egyptian Trash Cats and Egypt Eats. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that's it for the intro, so without further ado, let's get right to it. And a warm welcome to all of the new subscribers who are here from Blurry Creatures. And a huge thank you to Nate and Luke for having me on the show. I haven't done a podcast appearance in a while, and this was a great conversation. So if you want to check it out, it's now available on all podcast platforms like Apple Podcast, and will be out on YouTube soon. Blurry Creatures, episode 222, Ancient Alchemy with the Land of Chem. And I'll put a link to their YouTube and Apple site in the video description below. All right, everyone, here we go with tonight's episode. And to begin, we start today's expedition in search of the remains of the Great Pyramid Causeway and Valley Temple, which you can see here. This is a rarely mentioned and almost never shown site because it is not located on the official area designated by the Giza Plateau, and certainly is not an area visited by your average tourist. And you can see here in these images from Harvard University's Digital Giza website that, as always, the Valley Temple also functioned as a harbor. And the water from the Nile River used to come right up to the threshold of the temple. But unfortunately, there is absolutely nothing that remains of this Valley Temple structure today. So in preparation for our recent site explorations, my wife Alexa from Ancient Odysseys and I have been utilizing Google Earth to search for anomalies and areas of interest that we can investigate on site. And before this expedition, we located the remains of the Great Pyramid Causeway just off of the area officially designated for the Giza Plateau inside a local neighborhood, an area that is not accessible for the average tourist. As you can see, this is the Giza Plateau official area here, surrounded by the fence. And this is the remains of the Great Pyramid Causeway inside of this local neighborhood. And today, you will get to see the remains of the Great Pyramid Causeway. And as we continued our search, we were informed by a friend that the area where the Valley Temple once stood has been completely consumed and buried by the modern neighborhood that now covers this area. As you can see here, there is no trace whatsoever of this structure, and he reported that huge blocks of ancient stone foundations still exist below these homes, and that many locals have dug tunnels under their homes in search of artifacts. So once again, the Valley Temple of the Great Pyramid is another site that is forever lost to the sands of time and modern expansion. But during my investigation of the Causeway remains, located here, I discovered something that I still don't have a great explanation for. And before I show it to you, please keep in mind that I always try to look for a rational interpretation first. And I thought that this thing may just be a fossilized shell, which you can see here. A corkscrew-like artifact embedded into this limestone block with a huge cavity surrounding it here. and you will see this discovery firsthand in real time in the upcoming footage. And again, I tried to rationalize this as being part of a shell fossil. And when the block was broken open, the fossilized shell popped out, leaving this spiral formation inside of the limestone. There's some material here that looks like it could be a calcium deposit from the remains of a shell. But on closer inspection, you can see here that this spiral artifact is broken off here and broken at these 3 distinct pieces here. So this corkscrew piece would have been much longer, spiraling out into this open cavity here. And after looking at this thing over and over, I'm still not exactly sure what this is. It is definitely not from a tube drill, which was another consideration that we suggested, and I've seen plenty of shells and other fossils embedded into limestone blocks and bedrock on the Giza Plateau. It's actually a very common occurrence, but I've never seen anything that looks quite like this. And it is perhaps one of the strangest things I've ever found while exploring these sites. And I'll reserve my own speculations about what this could be, and let you do that in the comment section below. And in the second half of today's Sunday site visit, I get down inside of the metallic ore deposit leech mining pits located on the eastern side of the central pyramid, which you can see here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 that remain today, and 2 that are now completely buried. And I did this so that you can see these iron ore deposits and the acidic solution erosion up close. And I jump into this one first, then over to investigate this one, and then finally over here. And I've shown before in episode 75, chemical analysis of the Giza Plateau iron oxide deposits, that the samples numbered here from each pit taken by the Osireion project contain not only iron, but also rare earth elements, as you can see here in the following slides from pit 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the concentrations from these various samples showing lanthanum, cerium, praseodymium, neodymium, samarium, europium, gadolinium, terbium, dysprosium, holmium, erbium, thulium, ytterbium, and lucium. But these metallic ore deposits don't just contain iron and these rare earth elements, but they also contain precious metals, like these samples containing gold and silver, up to a quantity of 37% by weight of gold. And as a teaser for next week's Sunday site visit, you will get to see exclusive footage from inside an area that, according to conventional archaeology, doesn't even exist. The mining tunnels below the Giza Plateau, known as the Tomb of the Birds. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy Sunday Site Visit 49 from the Giza Plateau. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Sunday site visit here on the Giza Plateau. Technically speaking, we are not on the Giza Plateau at all. And I can almost guarantee you that this is a Land of Chem exclusive. And I'm just kind of, ahlan, taking in the site for a moment. And let me turn the camera around so you can see exactly where we are. And we are not in Kansas anymore. So for some orientation, Central Pyramid and the Great Pyramid. And this ridge that you can see up here is the official area for the Giza Plateau. But as you can see down here on my right, this, ladies and gentlemen, is basically all that remains of the Causeway, and most likely part of the Valley Temple of the Great Pyramid. And Alexa and I have always been doing some Google Earth investigations prior to our expeditions to the various sites here in Egypt. And it's been an extremely valuable tool lately for us to pinpoint areas of specific interest that we intend on seeing during our on-site investigations. And we were looking for this structure, so you can see here that the causeway leading from the Eastern Temple adjacent to the Great Pyramid would have come all the way down here in this direction and connected into the Valley Temple. And I'll put in some diagrams as always at the beginning of the episode so you can see what the structure would have looked like. And this entire area was an ancient harbor. This whole area would have been flooded with water, bringing the water of the Nile River up to the threshold of the temple. And you can see here they got horses eating their breakfast. And the remains of this structure that would have been down here. So this is stop one today on our expedition to the Giza Plateau. And almost never documented. I don't think I've ever seen footage of this area before. And there's so little research about this temple because it's been incorporated in the construction of the local neighborhood. You can see here, we're not even on the Giza Plateau right now. We had to go through a network of back alleyways to get up here. Hey, buddy. Say hello. So as a general tourist to the Giza Plateau area, you would never come down here. The area that is open to the public is the Central Pyramid Valley Temple, which is adjacent to the Sphinx enclosure. So this is really, really cool. I've never seen this side of the Giza Plateau before. I mean, look at this huge excavated area. What did they... This is a huge pit that's been excavated here. And I can see down in here, there's some bedrock that is reddish brown, tints of black, which are all bedrock iron oxide deposits down here in this pit. So a great deal of effort went into excavating this huge pit here. And they probably use this for a hammam, which is the Arabic word for restroom.
Ooh, look at here. And here looks like we've got some big foundation blocks here. Looks like some finished casing stone here. Everything now completely demolished. Looking back up at the Great Pyramid there. Oh, what the hell is this? What the fuck is this? You guys see that? Look at that spiral shape. I wonder if that was maybe a shell inclusion. Huh. Hold on one sec.
Something like this.
Yeah, we can go.
Looks like fine limestone.
All right, babe, let's make our way out of here. So it seems we may maybe have drawn the attention of some plateau guards. You can see more foundation structure here. All right. Already a pretty interesting day here on the Giza Plateau. Honestly, I don't know what the hell that is. It's possible that it looks like that block was broken open. And we found fossilized shells in a lot of the limestone blocks on the Giza Plateau, which is a perfect example of why the majority of the limestone blocks on the Giza Plateau are not geopolymer. I'm not opposed to the idea that that type of material was not used, because we found other examples of stone that could be geopolymer, but the large blocks are excavated quarried bedrock. And we find large complete shells intact in those stones, which directly implies that it could not be pulverized concrete material that was all ground up, made into a slurry, and then cast as a stone. So that block could have been broken open to expose a shell that was in there, and then the shell fossil was removed, leaving that spiral indentation in the stone. But you'd have to be very, very careful, and I don't see how a fossil could be removed intact to leave that sort of indentation. It looked almost like a screw drill, but I've never seen that before. And really the only thing that, in terms of tools that we know of, are the tubular drills. So it definitely wasn't a tubular drill mark. So that's, I don't know, let's just call it an anomalous feature in that particular block of limestone. So now we're gonna head back up to the Giza Plateau. Stay tuned for more. All right, we are now on our way up to the Giza Plateau. And I wanted to show you guys something here on the back side, the western side of the Sphinx enclosure. So you can see 1, 2, 3, and 4. This one here is completely covered with a metal gate. You can see the white metal gate right there. This door here, the gate covering this tunnel termination, you heard that correctly. This one's currently open. I've never seen this gate open before, but there's people working inside of there right now. This is all modern blocks and infrastructure here to stabilize the termination of this tunnel here. And you can see this is a huge eroded hole leading into the back of the Sphinx enclosure. And there's a huge plastic tube. So this opening here cuts back into this tunnel, leading up the plateau in the western direction. And there's a plastic drainage tube, a huge plastic drainage tube, probably about 2 feet wide, in this gate right here. And these tunnel terminations lead down into the Sphinx enclosure. And there will be a whole lot more about these features specifically coming up soon. It's nice and quiet out here on the Giza Plateau today. And it seems winter is officially over because it is hot out here. Currently late February. And we got a lot of things to see. Here, let's see if I can get a bit more of a close-up of this tunnel termination here. All of this area has been reinforced with modern blocks. And these tunnels lead back in the western direction toward the central pyramid.
It's too small.
What scooter? This gray. Yeah. They go on all those things.
Yalavina. All right, now we are here on the southern side of the central pyramid eastern temple. And you can see here this huge rut. And I recently showed this from where I climbed down inside of this area here on the other end, not only on the members only channel, but also in a short. And this entire rut was filled with a huge deposit of iron oxide. And I'll be presenting more. I still have a batch of 12 different sample locations from the Osireion project showing chemical analysis of the metal compounds that are also contained within these iron oxide deposits. So you can see here, this material here is all iron oxide. This big chunk over here. And those of you who are initiates of the members only channel will already be putting some pieces together here. And you can see here, this entire area here is all iron oxide. So this whole piece here, the remains of which are just here and here, was a huge vein of iron oxide. This is just what's left. And this entire pit, and we'll walk down to the other end so you can see the remains of the iron oxide that once filled this entire rut. And there are two of these ruts on each side of the Central Pyramid Valley Temple. There's more iron oxide in here. This is a huge vein running through here. Mafish Maya, shukran, anandi. This here, this material, I'll go on the other side so you can see it, but all of this material in here, this highly eroded, dissolved material that has been removed from this rut. This is all iron oxide, this whole pit. This is all red and black down in here. I've showed this area of the Giza Plateau before. All of this material here. Okay, let me give you some perspective. Eastern side of the Central Pyramid. This whole area is a huge deposit of iron oxide. And remember, when I say iron oxide, it's not just iron in there. There's all sorts of other valuable metals. That have been dissolved out of this leach mining pit. You can see here, the walls of this rut are covered with the remains of this material. All of this that you see here, look at all that red. This, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the metallic ore leach mining pits that are located on both sides of the Central Pyramid Eastern Temple. All of this is iron oxide, huge deposit that once filled this rut. And we have chemical analysis of this material that supports my conclusion about the chemical reaction that was occurring inside of this area on the Giza Plateau. So the bulk of the material was most likely mined out of here using conventional methods. Look at that. And then the remainder was extracted using acidic leach mining. And look at this huge eroded hole. And there's a specific chemical compound, which you can see the traces of here, that supports my conclusion about this acidic erosion. You can see these holes. Back in through here, which lead back up toward the surface. And the hole that I just showed you from here is looking up in this direction, and they covered it up here. This big stack of rocks here covers up a hole and where does this iron oxide deposit, metallic ore deposit, lead us? Over here. And what component do we see here? A channel. That was directing the aqueous solution of hydrochloric acid down through this channel out here toward this iron oxide deposit. And look here again, there's a flowing all through here. This is all eroded. Look at this salt material here. A very specific type of salt, as would occur per the reaction between hydrochloric acid and iron oxide. All of this flowing down into the leach mining pit. And there's two of these on both sides. So now we'll take a walk around to the other side so I can show you the other pit. Here on the eastern side of the central pyramid. Hydrochloric acid manufacturing chemical reactor. Adjacent to our sulfuric acid. Ahlan Sadiki. Adjacent to our sulfuric acid manufacturing structure. Yalavina.
Put your hand on top. Where are you from?
أنا من ناصر صديقي.
مرحبا يا صديقي. أبا بود يا صديقي.
شكرا. وأنت؟
اعمل صورة جنبه بدون أي شيء والله.
All right, so now we're here on the northern side of the Central Pyramid Eastern Temple. And at this point, let me explain something about the location of the Giza pyramids. That this site was selected strategically for metallic ore mining operations and in situ leach mining applications. Hey buddy, smile for the camera. And there are 2 metallic ore pits located on both sides of this eastern temple. And these structures were built on foundations of solid bedrock in such a way that the mining operations would not interfere with the stability and longevity of the structures. This was a strategic mining operation. The design and implementation of which is absolutely astounding. The scope of this operation. So here is another mining pit. انت عامل ايه صديقي؟ كله كويس؟
كله كويس.
Good, good.
انت كويس؟ انا كله انا.
And this rut as well was also filled. You can see this black material here, which is also iron, but most likely a magnetite. So this entire rut as well was filled. Sadiki, Delwati ana beshtegel. No, it's okay. I just told him in Arabic that I'm working. All of this material here is all mafish dollar American. Mafish cash. Asif. All of this material here is all iron oxide. Here, look at this. Huge deposit here. So this entire rut was filled with a vein of iron oxide that has now been mined out of this area. And as I showed before, there's salt. Remnants of a very specific type of salt, the chemical analysis of which provides the greatest evidence and support for my theories thus far. And you can see here more remains of this red iron oxide and the salt crust that is left over. And I can guarantee you that nobody else in this field is talking about this information or showing you these areas of the Giza Plateau, because they don't understand the scope of this operation and what these structures were really intended for. So just imagine. And if you could only see in my head the operation of this structure. So just imagine this, the Great Pyramid, the telluric currents flowing underneath the structure, polarizing this dielectric limestone material, accumulating charges on the top and attracting a lightning bolt, which distributed electric fields throughout the limestone and into the red granite core of the structure, activating the inverse piezoelectric properties within the red granite, producing ultrasound, which catalyzed a reaction between sulfur dioxide and oxygen to produce sulfur trioxide, that was then dissolved into aqueous solution and distributed across the Giza Plateau for these acidic leach mining operations. And the whole intention of these on-site visits is so you can see it for yourself. And I presented on the members only channel the day that I made this discovery and I found these pits. Of course, they were known about before and they're conventionally described as boat pits. This isn't a boat pit. They're mining ruts filled with extremely valuable metallic ore deposits. Not only semi-precious, but also precious metals like gold and silver. So sulfuric acid here. And hydrochloric acid here.
And just a quick announcement, new Land of Chem merch is now available. I just dropped the Nano Gold 5th degree logo on a black t-shirt and hoodie. And I'm very excited to present the new spectacular white horse logo on a black hoodie and the premium high definition extra large white horse logo on this exceptional quality black t-shirt. And once again, thank you so much to friend and supporter of the channel, Adam Arrington from New Zealand, for collaborating with me on this new logo design. He has done some amazing work in helping me bring my ideas for the Land of Chem logos to life. And if you want to check out more of his work, I'll put a link to his Instagram in the video description below. The Egyptian blue version of the Land of Chem book and the last 30 or so of the signed first edition purple orchid paper print are still available. So if you want to show some love, just check out thelandofchem.com. And thank you all so much for the support.
And I just wanted to show you one more of these mining ruts before we leave the eastern side of the central pyramid. Because there's 4 of these. There are 2 on the north and south side of the temple. There's also one here. This is another mining rut that you can see here. And look at this. These ruts here, where you can see all of this erosion. This was all filled with iron oxide. This is all iron oxide. It has been leach mined out of these. There's iron oxide here, in through this pit here. And this area has now been filled in. These blocks have been wedged in here to obscure the inlet down into this mining pit. And you can see the channels continue back further. And I just wanted to show you guys this, because we saw this same team was working outside of the Pyramid of Menkaure, and they're installing shelves for the scanning equipment. So within both the central pyramid and the final pyramid, they are doing scanning projects, and all this wood here, they're installing infrastructure inside of the pyramid to house all the scanning equipment. And we saw these same carpenters here outside of the final pyramid doing the exact same thing, where they are, well, so let me recap here. The project for reinstalling the casing stones on the pyramid of Menkaura, the final Giza pyramid, has been terminated after all of the international outcry and outrage. They finally decided that it wasn't a good idea. However, they are continuing with ongoing scanning projects of not only the exterior but also the interior. So that's what those carpenters are doing here on the outside of the central pyramid. And Lex was going to go film here, and something I wanted to take a look at are these terminations here in the bedrock. Because there's a series of what they call rock cut tombs back here. And all these things are currently blocked up. But if it's just a rock cut tomb, why go through all the effort of sealing these things up? I don't think they're rock cut tombs at all. I think they're most likely terminations of tunnel systems. So this is a huge wall of bedrock. And as discussed before, all of this was excavated. All of this bedrock here was excavated and leveled to remove stones that were then placed within the core of the structure. There's a bunch of these along this western wall, and the conventional explanation is that this is a rock cut tomb. What the hell is really back there? And if it is just a rock cut tomb, why go through all the effort of blocking these things off? And there's another one over here too. Here. And this one especially looks like it goes back. It's hard to see. There we go. And you can actually probably see it better on the footage than I can see. So, but if you look over there on the right, it looks like it goes back toward the north. So we're on the western side now. So here on the right side of the screen, it looks like it goes back up to the north, which is the same direction as the tomb of the birds. Alright, so we continue to walk around here on the western side of the central pyramid. And look at this. I'm like, oh, Jeff, it's just a rock. Is it though? Look at this. Look at that. And it goes much further down. This is not just a rock cut tomb. And as so many other areas here on the Giza Plateau, it looks like it's intentionally been filled in with rubble. Oh, here's another one. Here. Another locked door.
Look over here. I could fit in there.
And another tunnel. Going down deep into the bedrock. There's more. Here. Another closed gate to a quote-unquote rock-cut tomb. Well, if these gates are the quote-unquote rock-cut tombs, what are all these?
I could have more. This is crazy. I did not say it's just a rock.
There's another one. And another one here. Another one here. Another one here. So we found shafts. Excavated down into the bedrock along this western bedrock wall. This is part of the enclosure that once surrounded the central pyramid. Again, there's all of these quote-unquote rock-cut tombs, which are these here. Again, there's one here, There's another one under this rock here. It's sitting over another one of those holes. There's another one here. Quote unquote rock cut tomb. And then here's some more. There's one. Doesn't have a gate on it.
Alright everyone, that is it for today's video. This was Sunday Site Visit 49, Giza Plateau Mining Pits, and Causeway Anomalies. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and in the next episode in the series, I will be explaining the production of ultrasound to catalyze chemical reactions inside of the Great Pyramid. This is an episode you do not want to miss, so if you're interested in the technology of an ancient civilization utilizing physics and chemistry, and the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world, this is the channel for you. So please subscribe to The Land of Chem here on YouTube. Don't forget to click that little notification bell so that you do not miss the new episodes that premiere twice per week. Please like, comment, and stay tuned. If you want to help support this channel and get access to exclusive research and unreleased footage, check out the Land of Chem members only section or thelandofchem.com if you want to pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget, after you finish watching this video, please go subscribe to our two new channels here on YouTube, Egyptian Trash Cats for all you cat lovers out there, and Egypt Eats for food reviews. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that's it for today's episode, so I will see you next time.
Yo, are you still watching this? Please subscribe to The Land of Chem here on YouTube and click that little notification button. New videos coming out every single week. And check out this other episode. Come on, do it. Do it now.